All right. So last night, Devils took on the Blue Jackets, and yeah, it was one of those games that kind of leaves you shaking your head. They lost 4-2, and honestly, it's just like it's frustrating because like the effort was there. I felt like the effort was there. I thought Devils played a really solid game. I thought like Jack Hughes, Luke Hughes, both the Luke Hughes brothers were buzzing um all around the ice. You run into a goalie like Merzlikins where it's a weird thing where I think he has one of the lowest save percentages of the league, but this was a night he turns into fucking Marty Brodeur, right? So it's weird. It's a whole different game and a whole different story if Merzlikins does not play as well as he does. But we'll get into it. I think starting off for me, Jack Hughes. I thought this game. It sucks that it comes at a tough loss. It comes at a loss where yeah, I thought he played one of his best games. Right, he was just all over the ice. I thought his stick handling was really good. He was seeing the ice well. He was making good decisions. He was skating and weaving in through players here and there. It was. I thought it was crazy, like just the way that he was playing, and I thought he was controlling the game with the way that he was handling the puck, and the decisions he was making, and things like that. Um, it's crazy. I always am impressed with just how he creates opportunities with just his ability to buy time in the ozone. Like, and there was that one breakaway he had. I think it was in the second period. Just weaves right through a couple of the defensemen there, and it's just again, it's a bummer that it ended up being a game where they lost the way they did. But I thought he played unbelievable. And even like that last goal, right? The where the he gives up the puck and the Blue Jackets are able to get empty net. Can't even blame him for that one. I feel like because he played such a good game, and it's annoying when you just can't get a payoff for kind of game that he played. But I'm so impressed all the time with how he generates space just out of nothing. It seems like, right? It seems like there's not a whole lot going on when he's carrying the puck. It seems like players are closing in on him, and then he's able to quickly just toss the puck over to somebody and then get it back and then use the speed and I think agility to kind of escape stick checks and things like that. So yeah, I was really impressed with the way Jack played. I've been really impressed with the way he's been playing these past, I'd say, I don't know, stretch of 8 to 10 games or so. I think he's he's playing on what I like about his game is that he's playing on the level of it's not always about the goals that he's getting, even though he is scoring a bunch and he's him and Brader are leading the charge, I think, with the way they generate offense for us. But what I just like is he's getting to a place in how he, I guess, develops or whatever, where of course he's shooting the puck a lot. Of course this game he had like 13 shots on goal, right? I think that's one short of the franchise record with who was it, Claude Lemieux, I think it was. And but I just like that Jack is getting better about not needing to be a one man show. Now he's like trusting his like line mates, and he's not always the guy that has to be the only scorer on the team. And I think in years past where we were a little bit not as deep as we were now, I thought he took it on himself a little bit too much, where he had to be the guy that was going to score every time, every shift, every player, whatever. And now he's kind of, he takes opportunities still, but he has good line mates. He has other guys on the team that can score just as much. We got Brader there, and throughout the beginning of the year, I think Cotter was on fire too. So yeah, I think that's a big part. I was just really impressed with the way that he played this game. Tough that it comes at a loss, but I thought, he has been playing unbelievable these past couple of games or so or whatever. I think the thing I want to get into is just what is another deflating part about this game is that, the Devils came off to a really strong start, and that's one thing that was emphasized by Bryce, by Dano, by Rachel, by Bill, by everyone on the team. Like on the broadcast, like you want a strong start with the Devils, and against a team like Columbus, where on the surface it kind of looks like, all right, well, they may not be the best team, but it's these kind of games where a little bit of a trap game, I guess you could look at it. But I think more so, it's just you let teams like this hang around, and it just takes one bad bounce going against you, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a tough spot. And honestly, I thought they came out strong. I thought they came out strong. Again, it was Elvis Merzlikins who came out with just an unbelievable performance in net for the Jackets. But I thought the first goal against the Devils was, I don't know, a little soft. I just didn't think the puck wasn't even really going. It wasn't even a hard shot, really. It was just kind of the way it rolled up on him, and no one really picking up the trailer there. I just feel like it kind of just rolled up, and he probably could have made a better decision to kind of take care of that rebound or the initial shot to avoid a rebound hitting the front of the net or whatever. But again, like it is what it is. The Devils had their chances. I mean, those kind of bounces are going to happen, but the Devils really put on a good show. Or Merzlikins put on a good show against the Devils, but the Devils definitely put up a strong first period. They put on a strong game all around, honestly, right? So, yeah, I mean, look, it really was the Elvis Merzlikins show here. I feel like this guy was just unreal this entire game. He sticks his leg out. He gets 40 saves and 42 shots, and the last two goals came out of empty net. So I think majority of the game, he was unbelievable. The glove save on Hughes was incredible. He was just, yeah. I mean, when you run into a hot goalie like this, it's kind of hard to, I don't know, it's kind of hard to battle. He basically just turned into Dominic Hasek back there, right? So it was frustrating as a fan to watch, like, because the Devils had like high quality saves. It wasn't just a lot of shots. These were really good opportunities by really good players. Jack Hughes got stoned a bunch of times. Luke Hughes got stoned a bunch of times. You had a really good flurry of chances. I think beginning of the third period, there was a really quick leg save. You would think if they get that goal in the first 30 seconds of the third period, they can get on a bit of a roll there. There were just so many saves that he made that were just really good, and you really just have to give credit to Merzlikins here. I think these are guys who are fighting for their jobs too, right? So it's not like they're just going to roll over, and he probably just got himself a maybe more permanent starting position with the team here. I know they were kind of flip-flopping between the two, but I think with the way he played, it was really, really impressive. And honestly, I might watch the next Blue Jackets game to see, or next time he's playing, to see if he can keep this up. Because being a goalie myself, I hate that we ran into a hot goalie, but whenever you see a goalie performance like this, it's kind of fun and kind of cool to just see how these guys do or whatever. But yeah, look, the Devils ran into a really hot goalie, and I just don't know what else they could have done, right? I mean, you had quality chances. You had a lot of chances. You had your top guys getting the chances. It's just you run to a hot goalie, and that's just how it is. I think for me, though, what I would like to see moving forward, just throughout the season and as we get deeper into the season, because this is the kind of things that, you run into the playoffs where you run into a hot goalie, and that can mean the end of your season if you can't figure him out by the end of the playoff series there. And I think that's something I would like to see the Devils be able to handle, is being more of a dynamic and creative offense in a sense, right? Like and to do so in the span of a game, as opposed to having to kind of always regroup after the game and come back in the next game with a different, I don't know, strategy or whatever. And not to say that again, like that they're gonna always, figure out goalies in this kind of way where they can always just find a way to get goals or whatever. But I just think in times this season so far, when especially the games where they've been shut out, sometimes they just kind of have the same strategy throughout this game, right? Like whether it's, they'll always give the puck to Hughes and Bratter and rely on them to score, or you rely on, Dougie or the D man at the point to get a shot and things like that. Like, I think this was a game where Merzlikins really was reading the 2-on-1s really well. He was athletic. He was playing really well. I think it would have been nice. Like if you look at Luke Hughes' goal to get the 3-1 game, to get the game to 3-1, it was a bit of a garbage goal, right? Just throw a lot of pucks to the net. And then you look at the goal to get it to 3-2. They just toss it to the front of the net and a little tip in front, take his eyes away, and it becomes 3-2, right? I mean, these are the kind of goals that, like, when you're facing a goalie like Merzlikins, who he's seeing everything he's stopping everything that he's seeing, and even getting lucky a little bit, right, on the ones that he just sticks his leg out. But you got to find different ways to attack the net and approach getting goals, and like having traffic in front, garbage goals, and things like that is it's just always I would have liked to see him go to that kind of option sooner, but again, it's not. That's me being picky a little bit, but I just moving forward, when you face a hot goalie, it's a little tougher, right? And as you get deeper into the season, to try to have to figure him out or whatever. But yeah, I think the story of this game to me is just ran to a hot goalie, but we had really good performances by a lot of players on the team. I think specifically with Luke Hughes, he's a guy like Jack Hughes played unbelievable, and his brother, right? I mean, I thought they both had really strong games. One of the things I really like about the development, I guess you could say, about Luke is, I just feel like he's really maturing well as a player. The way he carries himself, the way that, you can tell he's, like when he scored that goal, Bryce made a comment about this on the broadcast, but like when he scored the goal, he looks right up at the clock. He's like, all right, we have X amount of time. We got to get this going. And, he's just developing into this really mature style of player who, it may seem like a basic thing, but this kid's like what, 20, I don't know, 20 years old, 21 years old, maybe not even. But he's being trusted to be a leader back there, and he's the third line, I guess, quote unquote, third line pairing of the D men. But he could easily be up there, as a top, top four defenseman. I just think his skating ability is incredible. That's my favorite thing about him, is like, he's not the Colin White, Scott Stevens-esque type of defenseman where he's not going to come in and bully you around, and he's not, his size isn't really going to intimidate forwards that much, or at least for now. But it's his skating ability that's scary, right? It's that, like, I mean, I think it's that Scott Niedermayer style skating ability where it's like he gets so much speed, and he picks up so much space by not doing too much. It's like his stride just is so good. It's like he doesn't need to be, hustling to get far. Like it seems like he just takes a couple of strides and he's already like past the neutral zone, right? And you add on his his stick handling ability, and you add on his hockey IQ of being a Hughes brother. It's just really fun to watch, I think, him develop into the kind of guy that he is and the player that he's become. So, for me, he's honestly becoming one of my favorite players on the team, just because, like, the way that he's growing and as a player, and being able to provide just all around, solid defensive plays, and contribute on the offense, and just contribute on the opportunities that generate offense and things like that. Like the stretch passes he makes, I really thought that like things like that are so impressive. I think he logged over 26 minutes of ice time, scored a goal, got an assist. It's like a lot of his decision-making skills are just getting into a really good spot. It's just, he's such a strong guy back there in the blue line for the Devils that it's been really impressive. And again, this game was a really good one in terms of the Hughes brothers and what they were able to do. It just, couldn't get the win, but I just was really, really impressed with the way that they both played. And now, I want to touch on a little bit too on the offensive depth, right? Because this has been also another thing that is talked about and is touched on at times when, outside of Jack Hughes, Jesper Brett, sometimes Dougie, but Cotter was on a run there a little bit. Um, and once in a while we'll get goal. Even Timo Meyer will add in some goals, but I think Mercer, Tatar. I think we just need a little bit more depth scoring, depth production. I think even in terms of assists or in terms of just generating chances, it'd be nice. I mean, he sure's been also. I thought he's been playing unbelievable this year too. Like, I think from the bottom six guys or whatever, I think just a little bit more contribution because in games where it is going to be tough for Hughes and Brett to always be scoring all the time, right? And I think as we get further down the season and we get closer to playoff hockey, like these are the things that um, that make playoff teams really great. I mean, if you think back to past Devils team, I remember the 2003 series, playoff run vividly, and you get guys like Pascal Rayom and who contribute, and Jeff Friesen. I mean, I know Langenbrunner was always the top guy, but he had a run there a little bit in that Ottawa series where he was just getting key goals at points. And John Madden was always a shorthanded killer. He could always score shorthanded, but he was always just like they called him Mad Dog, right? He was always just gritty, never, not really fancy guy, but he would get the goals and need them. Breland was always clutch. Like there were a lot of guys outside of just Elias or Gomez and Gianta or things like that. I mean, Gianta during that time, he stepped up. But like, I think the depth of this team, I just feel like I look at someone like Mercer. He's a talented guy. He's got a lot of skill. I think he, I remember last year, 2 years ago, where he did go on a bit of a point streak. He's a very, very consistent player in terms of always being in the lineup, which is great. And I don't think he's having a bad year by any means, but I do think there are some games where he, kind of struggles with some decision making a little bit. But it's part of, evolving and growing as a player. But I, would like to see a little bit more from him in terms of getting some goals and things like that. And also, I think Dougie, in my opinion, like just hopefully he can get back into that rhythm. I think right now there are times where he feel like he's playing a little timid, and there are times where like today, like this game, there was that goal where I think it was the third goal where I think it was because of him like giving the puck up, right? So you want to have these little things cleaned up, and just be able to be a reliable back there. But just like we brought him in for him being a solid D-man, but I do think he's more of an offensive D-man. I always feel like he pinches too much. Honestly, like that's in the games of the past, we had a 3-game winning streak, right? So I think in those 3 games, I think that's, for me, one of the things I noticed where he wasn't pinching as much and we didn't give up too many odd man rushes. So, you didn't have to force one of the wingers or, the center to come back. And now you had an offensive odd man rush, or played a defensive odd man rush. But like, I think Dougie is just very offensively driven. I think like he has a knack for wanting to get in on the offense, right? And he has a great shot, and I think that's one of the reasons why we got him. He was pretty awesome for us when we first got him, and I remember that Rangers series. He scores that. I think he scored that overtime goal. But I think that this year it's just sometimes been a little bit of a mixed bag sometimes in games that we have. But I think he'll get it cleaned up and get it together and all that. And it's not like he's been playing bad at all. I don't think he's been playing bad. I just feel like there are times, especially on like our power play, or when we kind of need a big goal or big generated chance from the blue line to get a garbage goal in front. Like, we could use a good shot or a strong shot from the point from him. And I don't know, sometimes don't seem like we are able to get it there, but yeah, look, it's very early in the season, I guess, but being a little picky because he hasn't been playing badly. But I just think that, I think Dougie could contribute a little bit more to the offense. It would be nice for him to do so. And yeah, so look, I mean, I thought this game overall did feel like, in a sense, just I'm not gonna say a playoff game, but I just feel like there was adversity here, right? And honestly, I think this game compared to, let's say, that Toronto game where I'm still upset over that one. That one, I can't believe we lost that game. Didn't even get a goal or anything, right? Or by the time we brought it to overtime, I can't believe that we lost that one. But this one, I just felt like we ran into a hot goalie, and it is what it is. But I do think that like I said earlier, I think there's an opportunity there to kind of get more, I guess maybe not say creative, but more to lean in on a different strategy, I guess, when we face the kind of goalie that we have and he's playing well. It's just, there has to be some like grit and just drive to make sure that whatever kind of goalie we're facing, that we can throw some different stuff at him instead of just trying to rely on, skilled opportunities and things like that. But again, we ran into a good goalie. I don't know. I don't know if that's probably just ramming a little bit, because we did run into a really good goalie. I'm not like too upset about the game. I'm just, again, nitpicking when it comes to that aspect of it. So it was good to see the team, them hang in there till the end and really try their best to tie it up at the end. And I think that's also a difference, that where in years past, it would sometimes seem like we would be down 3-0 and it was almost a game over already, right? Especially when we were in the third period. When we were in the third period, it'd be 3-0. I feel like it might have been over, but this time around, the kind of team we have now, there's essentially, it's like they have that no quit, never say die attitude about them, which is great, right? As a fan, that's always a great thing, that your team, you can always count on that they may come back, right? And they're not out of it. You don't count them out yet, right? So, look, next up they got Pittsburgh. I think Penguins have been playing pretty well lately. Goaltending can sometimes be shaky, so that could be a good chance for the Devils to bounce back here. And if I think if they put the same effort and same offensive kind of firepower they had this game against the Blue Jackets, and they use that against the Penguins, I think they could, win that game. But who knows, right? Maybe the Devils bring out the best in goalies, and Jari could have a great game if he's playing. But I think the Devils are going to play well against Penguins. And, going up against Crosby and Malkin and all of them, they definitely elevate their game to another level whenever they're facing good talent like that, for sure. But look, I think the game against the Blue Jackets, bit of a tough one. It's kind of the loss that it kind of just leaves you scratching your head. It's like you ran into a good goalie, nothing you can do. The effort was there. I don't feel discouraged by it at all. I think it's just how it goes sometimes. But yeah, I do think the Devils are trending, and have been trending for sure, in the right direction. They're definitely winning more than losing lately, and that's kind of what you would want in these kind of stretches of the season. But yeah, I think against the Penguins should be a really good game, and looking forward to it. Hopefully we can get back to a mini win streak here. I'm going to be at the Rangers game on Monday, so that should be fun. But look, I think they're going to be fine. They played really well, and they just couldn't get past a really hot goalie. But look forward to seeing what they do next.